Hello, and welcome back to the Four Horsemen. My name is Paul, representing Diecast Graveyard. Myself, along with Brian from Diecast Outcast, Xavier from Diecast Show Customs, and Keith from Outlaw Speed Shop make up the Four Horsemen. This month's build is a 1935 Matchbox Ford pickup truck, and the theme is old-time delivery. Now, I researched some things of companies that were in business in the 1930s, and I believe that I came up with something pretty cool. So sit back and relax, grab your favorite adult beverage, and join along with today's build. This is going to be a lot of fun. And in a couple of days after the video is posted, we're going to have a recap video for you to look at all the other guys that participated in this month's build. Let's have fun. This Matchbox truck is a pretty cool casting. I went ahead and drilled out the post, and we'll go ahead and get the truck apart. It's a pretty cool casting. I really like it, and there's a lot of potential with this particular casting. So I'm going to go ahead and strip the paint off of this one, but I got some things I want to do to it first. I'm going to cut a hole in the hood because I'm going to replace the engine. Now the base is pretty cool, but I'm going to do a wheel swap on this one. I don't really care for those old tires. I'm going to cut that box off of the back, and we're going to do an engine swap. The glass is in good shape. I'm going to leave that the way it is. Let's go ahead and continue. Here I've got the interior. I'm going to take my Dremel and I'm going to cut off the panel box on the back. I want to smooth that out because I'm thinking of putting a wooden bed in the truck. Any way you get this out is fine, whether you melt it out or cut it out or file it out, sand it out, whatever. Do what you need to go ahead and get it nice and smooth. So if you decide to put in a wood bed or just cut it out completely, you get it nice and flat for whatever you're going to put inside it. I've gone ahead and sped this up just because this is kind of like boring, but I did want you to see what I did here. This is looking pretty cool. Just taking the razor knife and cleaning off some of the flash just to get rid of it. Now with the wheels, I decided to use an old style wheel, but I did want to put some mag tires on there. I know this is an old 1935 build, but the company that I did use was from 1935. Now I took my Dremel and a grinding bit and I cut some grooves in the axle tube itself so I could put some super glue in there to hold the axles in place. And then I'm going to glue the axles onto the base of the truck. Now, I had been using Loctite super glue that you could get from the dollar store, but recently I have discovered that the Gorilla Glue super glue, the gel kind, is it tends to perform better. Now, that's just my opinion. If you've got an opinion of your own, go ahead and put it in the comments. I'd love to see it. Go ahead and put it in there. Make sure that it's laying flat. And then I'll go in with a couple of drops of the accelerator to go ahead and dry up the super glue a little bit quicker. Now, one of the things you have to think about with the super glue is that it does tend to give off fumes. So if you have anything like your tires, or if you're using it around any type of clear plastic or anything like that, it can possibly cloud it up. So you're going to have to use your discretion when it comes to putting this stuff together, and whether you're going to use super glue or not. Sometimes modeling glue is a better choice, but it does take longer to dry. Now with this particular truck, with the wheel swap that I did, the front end did scrape. I didn't get the wheels down far enough, so I had to grind away the suspension arm on the bottom, that little one in the front there. I had to grind that away a little bit in order to get the wheels to roll properly. Let's go ahead and do a test fit. Now, I did swap out the engine. I cut that out. And I'm using an engine that I got from my friend Grizz at Bearcat 3D Designs. If you're looking for something from Grizz, from Bearcat 3D Designs, search on Facebook for Bearcat 3D Designs, and that's where you'll find him. He did have a website, but he has been having some problems with it, and he's been trying to get it fixed, but you know how these companies are. I took a couple pieces of the polystyrene plastic and mounted the engine to it. Like I said, make sure that your wheels are nice and flat in the axle holders, and it'll roll really good. I got the real riders on there because I just don't care for those plastic wheels. That's just me. Now, one of the other things I did is I took a bunch of flat toothpicks and I put them all together with modeling glue, and then I put a piece of poster board on the bottom to hold them together better. I trimmed it down to fit, and it fits in the bed nice. Later on, I'm going to take a little bit of brown tester's paint, and I'm going to thin it out with lacquer thinner, and just to get some kind of a stain on that wood. But that turned out pretty good. I was very happy with that. Didn't like the old wheels, but I do like these baby moons, or giant moons, whatever you want to call them. Let's get the paint off. Here I've got the body, and I'm going to put it in the embalming fluid. Make sure you get it in all the cracks and crevices to get rid of all the old paint, especially if you're going to be doing a color change. Now, it's not so important if you're doing an opaque enamel, but if you're doing like a Spectre Flame paint or something candy or see-through, then you need to make sure that all the paint comes off. Here I'm using just solid opaque white from the Redline shop. Now, not only do they sell the Spectre Flame paints, they've got some pretty cool opaque paints too. So check that out at the Redline shop. I got it all cleaned off and I got it wiped down with lacquer thinner, and we're going to use the paint and the activator hardener and get that down. Let it dry for 24 hours. Now we're putting on the decals. Now what I'm using here are decals that I made up, and this is a beer company over in Germany called Schneider, and this is Schneider Weiss. Folks, if you've never had Schneider Weiss, this is my absolute favorite beer in my life. I love this beer, and whenever I go to Munich, I get this beer. They do sell it here in the United States, but it is a little bit hard to find. But I absolutely love it. It's a wheat beer, and it is, oh gosh, it's so delicious. I can't even begin to tell you. But I can't control myself when I drink these beers because they're fantastic. So this company has been in business since, I believe, 1879. I'm probably off on the year. So I decided to pay homage to this company because I like the product so much. And since it is in Bavaria, Germany, I went ahead and started decking it out like a Bavarian flag or something from like Oktoberfest or something like that. One of the other things I like to do is if I have decals, if I'm doing something, I always have an extra set of decals off to the side. That way there, if I make a mistake and I rip the decal or it folds over on itself and I can't get it apart, etc., I've always got a backup. And that's something to think about when you're doing these decals. Speaking of decals, if you need some super decals and you don't have the ability to print white toner decals, go to Second Chance Redlines. Vince makes an ultimate, beautiful product, and when it comes to decals, Vince's work is second to none. Now, if you're doing something special and he doesn't have a template for it, you're going to have to take some pretty cool measurements off the thing in order to make sure that he gets the measurements properly. Now, I'm going to be going over that in a future video with learning how to apply decals, and I'll show you the measurements Vince needs in order to make sure that you get decals that fit your project properly. This is going to turn out really cool. I'm very happy with this so far. Now these ones here, I didn't use any white toner because the base of the car was white, and I did that deliberately, but you can make some really cool decals. I'm also using microset to put these decals on. This will help the decals adhere better, and it will also help it conform to any curves you have, such as door jambs, door hinges, door handles, etc. It's a really good product. Let's let this dry and move on. Okay, here I've got all my pieces. I've got the body, and that turned out fantastic. I put a really nice clear coat on there from the Redline shop. Here's the interior. I did the engine swap. That looks really good. Here's the front end. That's just there to take up space. Here's the windshield. That is what it is. Here's the base with the wheel swap. I really like these wheels on this particular build, but that looks fantastic and it rolls really good. Here's the wood for the bed that I made. That looks good. Let's put it all together and have our reveal. And here's what we started with. A 1935 Ford Matchbox pickup truck. This is a really good base to start with, and it was a lot of fun. And again, the theme was old-time delivery. Now, like I said, the company that I chose has been in business since 1879, and the logo hadn't changed that much over the years, so that's the logo I decided to use. The only thing that looks a little bit newer is maybe the engine and the wheels. But overall, this truck turned out fantastic. I absolutely enjoyed it. Now, when it comes to the other builders, check out the other 4 Horsemen. There'll be a link in the comments. And in a few days, we'll have a recap video. And go check out those folks' videos too. Now, some have YouTube pages and some do not. But we still encourage you to get into the build and have a lot of fun. Let's look at the results. And here's what we got to. Look at how nice this turned out. We got the beer kegs in the back making a delivery. We got that brand new V8 engine in there with the carburetor sticking out of the hood. We've got the Bavarian themed paint job, and we got the big decals Schneider Weiss, or Schneider White, which is German for wheat beer. This turns out fantastic, and I had a lot of fun doing it. Now, I just released recently, or we just released recently, the new build schedule for 2022. We have 3 more builds for the month of, or the year of 2021, and we've got all the builds posted for 2022. This gives you ample time and plenty of time to research and get all your cars ready for the builds for the entire year. If you have any questions, leave a question in the comments, and make sure you go to 4 Horsemen Diecast YouTube page and subscribe. Make sure you send your glamour shot along with your logo if you have one to the 4 Horsemen Diecast at gmail.com. Now make sure it's a good picture, like I said, because people are going to want to see what you did, and having it at a weird angle and stuff just makes it harder for me to edit it for the recap video. And make sure you go to the 4 Horsemen Diecast page and subscribe, because that's where the recap video is going to be posted, along with the brand new schedule for 2022 coming up very, very soon. I'm really excited about that, and it'll give you time to buy your cars. Thanks for joining me today on the 4 Horsemen. My name is Paul, representing Diecast Graveyard. Don't forget to go to 4 Horsemen Diecast YouTube channel, check out the schedule, and see what build is coming next month. I look forward to seeing you. Thank you so much, and cheers.